Great move, Thomas Chabot scores!
He bursts over the Panther line, White to the net, shoots, and he scores!
Here's Kachuk, right in, scores! Balzer's a handoff to Balzer's, going to the net, scores!
Welcome to Sens Talk. My name is Brandon, and I am your host. Before we get started, please follow us on Twitter at SensTalk_ for up-to-date updates of the games and, of course, breaking news. As well, please check out our sponsor, SeatGeek.com, or download the app on the App Store and use our promo code SensTalk. You will save $20 off your first purchase. Now, tonight's game is the final game of the decade, as the Senators took on the Pittsburgh Penguins, which is kind of sentimental or monumental, as Ottawa firstly is 9-0-1 of their last 10 against Pittsburgh. Most notably, one of those losses was in Game 7, double overtime, in 2017 conference finals. I think we all remember very well. Kunitz scores on the right shoulder, a knuckleball after Stallberg could have stolen a puck and won on a breakaway. Instead, they tipped the puck to Crosby to Kunitz. They win that one in overtime. So it's a sentimental way, I guess, to end the decade against the Pittsburgh Penguins. A huge rivalry for Ottawa, or the fan bases at least. We do not like each other. If you go on Twitter right now, we do not like each other. But before we get into the actual game recap, I want to talk a lot about Senators, a decade in review, or some monumental things about this decade. So firstly, the best Senators moment of the decade, I have to say it's the 2017 Cup or Conference Final run. That year was insanely fun. Guy Boucher, the 131, the system. All right, he was a great coach that year. It was a great team, great squad before all the drama happened. And of course, unfortunately, to this team, we lost in double overtime. Now, honorable mentions, obviously, Alfie's retirement, number 11, going to the Banners. I was at that game, tears in my eyes. Maybe the Carlson return. And I as well put down Clark MacArthur's OT goal against Boston to send us to the second round against the Rangers. Incredible moment. Biggest surprise of the decade, like Bruce Garriock said, obviously was the Hamburglar run. Without a doubt, the Hamburglar run. We went 21-1 in 22 games to make the playoffs in the final day of the National Hockey League season. That will never happen again, my friends. So that is the biggest surprise of the decade, potentially of the centennial, whatever you want to call it. I don't really know the word, but in the next 100 years, there will be nothing like that again in National Hockey League or sports history. The best run in Senators history forever, I guarantee it. And the best Sens player of the decade, I put Erik Karlsson without a doubt. Alfie was the best of the last decade. This decade, it was Erik Karlsson. He drove us to this conference finals in 1 foot. 2 Norris trophies, a dimensional player, got us on the map, kept us in the playoff hunt majority of the years. Erik Karlsson was that player, a generational talent, and he's not an Ottawa Senator anymore, but Erik Karlsson was a hell of a player, and he will always be an Ottawa Senator to me. Now let's get to the game recap, and I'm just letting you know, for the Sens Talk Story of the Night, I also put Sens Player of the Decade for you guys to vote for, so I will get to that after. So firstly, congratulations to Anthony Duclair. He's headed to the National Hockey League All-Star Game. Last year, John Tortorella said he could not play in the National Hockey League. The next year, screw you, Torts. He is a National Hockey League All-Star. So congratulations to the Duke, Anthony Duclair. Now, the same lineup for Ottawa tonight. Hogberg is in the net. Tristan Jarry for the Pittsburgh Penguins. He has been absolutely fantastic, tearing it up, stealing the net from Matt Murray. He is in the net for the Penguins to end the season for the 2019 for the Penguins, and to start 2019 like they started it, they're going to end it with a nice goal in the first 27 seconds. Evgeny Malkin, 10th of the year, 27 seconds in, rips it glove side on the 2-1 from Genson Johnson. The Penguins strike early, it's 1-0. They outshot us crazily in this period. 15-4 in the first period. Dominic Simone gets a goal from Blandisi. 2-0 Nick Paul with a weak effort here as Simone is left alone basically on an unreal pass from Blandisi through the hash mark area. We go to the second period now where Ottawa finally gets something going. It is a beautiful pass from Christian Yaro, looking like Erik Karlsson. Threads the needle right to Paul, who puts his puck into the net. Ottawa cuts the lead to 1. It's 2-1. Nick Paul's 5th of the year from Yaros and Sabrin. That is back-to-back games for Paul with a goal. His first time ever doing that in the National Hockey League. But a minute and a half later, Evgeny Malkin returns the 2-goal lead for the Pittsburgh Penguins. A nice pass from Rust. Malkin gets his second of the night, 11th of the year. A nice pass from Rust. 4 out of 5 Sens defenders were looking at Rust. Malkin was here. All of them had their back to Malkin. He roofed it glove side. No chance, Hoggy. But Ottawa playing their best period of the game. Like usual, it's the second period. Nick Paul on a nice rebound pass from Brown gets his second of the night, third in as many games, and the Senators cut the lead once again to 1. It is a 3-2 game. Nick Paul, his 6th of the year, second of the night from Brown and Thomas Hudson Bacho Shabbat. But just like the first Paul goal, the Penguins respond very quickly. After that, Hornqvist on a weird angle from Marino and McCann. Hornqvist, 7th of the year. The Penguins, going into that third, are up by 2, and they make it 3. Gensel crashes to the net, gets one in, crashes into the board heavily. Hopefully he's okay. Skated off the ice under his own power, but holding his arm. Prayers with him. Hopefully he's okay. Hopefully it's not a long-term injury, if there's an injury at all. But Golubev crashed into Hogberg, left the net open for Gensel to put in his 20th of the year. Malkin with another assist. Rust as well with a secondary. Ottawa loses this game 5-2. They are now in their last 11 games versus the Penguins at home. 10-0-1 is the record for the Penguins. The Senators are 0-10-1. That is very bad. Very, very bad. Faceoffs, Ottawa won the battle in the faceoff department for 35-29. Ottawa's power play went 0 for 2. The Penguins' sole power play attempt did not go into the back of the net 0 for 1. Hits for Ottawa. Very high hitting, very high physicality affair, 55-34. You can tell right off the bat these teams do not like each other. And late in that third period, in the last minute, Brady Tkachuk gets into a little scruffle with Malkin after earlier in the game, Malkin cross-checked Sabrin in the back of the head. Malkin, I don't like Malkin, he's a dirty player. And so Brady, Penguins fans are going to be my mentions and comments for that. But Brady defended Sabrin and Shabbat, who also got slashed or cross-checked earlier. So you don't have to like Brady. I love Brady, and he's in every single Pittsburgh Penguins fan's head. And when we drafted him, people were saying this is the type of guy you want on your team, not the one you want to play against, and he's proving it every single game. Just don't go to Sens Twitter right now. The Penguins fans are losing their minds. To the third star of the game, it's Patrick Hornqvist with the goal and assist. The second star, Jake Gunsel with the goal and 2 assists. And the first star, Gino, 2 goals and assists tonight for the Pens. Let's get to the Sens talk. Before we get to the Sens talk star of the night voted by you, the fans, let's get to the Sens record in December to close out the 2019 year on the decade. 5-4-4 on the season in December. Now let's get to the Sens talk star of the night voted by you, the fans, and the Sens player of the decade, also voted by you, the fans. So before we get into the Sens Talk Star of the Night voted by you, the fans, and of course the Sens Player of the Decade, both of them brought to you by SeatGeek.com. Download the app in the App Store or use our promo code SensTalk and you will save $20 US off your first purchase. I want to give a big thank you to you, the fans, for your support this season, every single season, and of course throughout this decade. We've grown substantially on Twitter, Facebook, and of course YouTube. I appreciate the support. Happy New Year's in advance. Be safe. Party safely. Now let's get to the Sens player of the night, Sens Talk star of the night. So 4th place, 0% vote, Connor Brown assist tonight. Defensively, he looked good, and as well, got a nice pass there off the Paddy to get Tristan Jarry, whatever you want to call him, for the Penguins goaltender. Nick Paul getting a second nice play from around there. Very high-cued player. Nice execution there. Third star, 4% of the vote. He's here for one reason and one reason only. Christian Jaros, a beautiful threading the needle pass to Nick Paul for the first of the game for Ottawa Senators. A nice pass there. Gets him on the board. Second star, 15% of the vote. Left just alone for his fight at the end. Brady Tkachuk. Hell of a grinder. Great guy. Penguins fans might disagree. But this kid is all heart, all heart, all heart. Second star, 15% of the vote. Love this kid. First star, 81% of the vote for sure. 2-goal night. Sniper for the Senators tonight. Nick Paul, 3 goals in his last 2 games to end the year, I guess, going into 2020. Fantastic game for him. And, you know, when he was playing on the 4th line, he got limited minutes, but now he's playing with actual offensive players, and look what happens. Nick Paul is starting to put the puck back into the net again. So those are your 4 stars for the night. Now let's get to the Senators Player of the Decade. 4th place with 0% of the vote, Kyle Turris. Now this one, it was kind of a toss-up. I was going to either put Turris, I'll talk about the third one too. So the third option I'm going to mention in a second, but Kyle Turris, it was either him, I was either going to put Stoney, Mark Stone, Jean-Gabriel Pageau, or McCulloch as well. But Turris I thought was longer, more of a legacy, more overtime goals. This kid was a stud for us when we traded for him. I believe it was, Ron Blatt from the Coyotes. That's a heavy throwback. So, 4-star. 3rd star, 4% vote, Chris Neal. Another one I was contemplating the other few. But I thought Nealer just has a huge legacy in Ottawa. I can see him getting his number retired in Ottawa one day, just like Phillips is soon. But, he was in the lineup every single game. Clean player, feisty player, but clean one. Never got suspended. Was always that guy the Senators fans can cheer for, rely on, and enjoy watching when it was more of a physical type of game. Nealer is a Sens legend through in and throughout, great in the community. 3rd star. 2nd star of this decade is Craig Anderson. When we trade for him from the Colorado Avalanche for Brian Elliott, Anderson went from being the backup to Peter Budaj in Colorado to the starter in Ottawa and took the reins and ran with it. He's been the best Senators goaltender ever, if you don't consider Dominik Hasek a real Sens goalie. He was here for 1 year. Really, Craig Anderson is the best Sens goalie we have ever had. Maybe Aleem, but I'd still say Anderson. Definitely the best goalie of the decade, without a doubt. Anderson just beast mode. He's carried us in 2017. He's carried us in so many years to the playoffs. There's been so many years where he's faced the most shots and he's made the most saves. He's been an unreal goalie, and I honestly believe he has been one of the most underrated goaltenders in the National Hockey League the last 10 to 12 years. He was a top 10 goalie I'd say for half of these 10 years. He was so under the radar because he was in Ottawa, and he doesn't get enough appreciation. Anderson, 2nd star, and the 1st star, of course, 85% of the vote for number 65, EK65, the captain, Erik Karlsson, the former captain of the Ottawa Senators anyways, before being traded to San Jose. Hell of a player, like I said in the beginning of this video. 2 Norris trophies. 1 run on 1 leg to the conference finals, and he was always one of the top players in the National Hockey League, one of the best defensemen in the National Hockey League, and not only that, there was that year when he got 82 points as a defenseman. This kid is unreal, generational talent, and it's unfortunate that he has to finish his career in San Jose. Maybe he'll finish in Ottawa, but right now it looks like he'll finish in San Jose. But he is a Sens player of the decade without a doubt. Now, thank you all for watching. Once again, that's it for the decade. The decade's over, and I'll see you in 2020 when the Sens take on the Panthers on the 2nd at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So thank you all for watching. I appreciate the support tonight. I appreciate the support always, and of course, throughout the last decade, and I'll see you for the next decade. Thank you all for watching. Please follow us on Twitter at Senstalk_ for live tournament dates for the games, and of course, breaking news. Please like us on Facebook, Senstalk. Add us to circles on Google Plus Senstalk. Click the big red button down there and subscribe to us. Like this video. Share this video of Circle stuff. Please check our website, SenstalkCentral.com. We update that every single day. And of course, check out our sponsor, SeatGeek.com. Download the app in the App Store or use the promo code SensTalk. You will save $20 US off your first purchase. And of course, our website, SenstalkCentral.com. We update that every single day. Ottawa loses to the Penguins. Why not? They've lost to the Penguins multiple times this decade. So why not finish off the decade with a loss to the Penguins? They lose it 5-2. I'll see you January 2nd. Happy New Year's. Be safe. Go Sens go.